What's up, y'all? I am coming to you on a happy Pride message. I feel like I haven't given a Pride message yet, and so uh, happy Pride. I'm here, I'm queer, I'm unapologetic and happy about it. And I'm grateful to be in community with all my other queer, trans, non binary, asexual, intersex, gay, and lesbian radical community. I feel deeply grateful to have come to this community in such a way that it just feels so easeful and beautiful. This What's Up, y'all, is to talk about this idea of radical permission as it relates to trans youth, and as it relates to this idea of what does it look like for us as cis folks? What does it look like for us as older folks? What does it look like for straight folks to really embody being allies? It's not my favorite word. Accomplices to trans youth, accomplices to their most powerful, self-expressed, liberated lives. What would it mean for trans youth to have radical permission to be their most authentic selves? And what I think that it would mean is I think it would mean a few things. I think it would mean things for us as older people. I think it would mean so much for us as cis folks. I think it would mean so much for straight folks. I think it would mean so much for people efforting toward liberation in general. And I think it would mean so much for them. And so I'm going to start with what would it mean for trans kids, trans young people, to have radical permission to be their most authentic selves. And I think what it would mean is that they were surrounded by a world that understood them as an essential element of liberatory possibility in our lifetimes. And, I think I say that because so often the conversations that we have about ending oppression and about marginalization is, we don't even believe it's possible, right? And we're like, well, maybe my great grandkids will see it, or maybe not in my lifetime, right? And I keep saying, what if that isn't true, right? What if that's the thing we say to evade the pressure to resolve a thing now, right? I think about, so much of what we propose is going to take so long is really just about our unwillingness to follow the leadership of the people who are already there. And when I tell you that trans young people are already inside of liberatory possibility, they already are defying the gender binary, right? They're already being like, what is this rigid box of identity that y'all are doing, right? And unfortunately and historically, trans youth have been doing that with so little support, so little resource, so little care, so little safety, so little nurturing. And yet and still, they have been the vanguards for what a liberatory practice looks like in real life, in real time, right? Like being willing to be authentically themselves at the risk of family, at the risk of school, at the risk of jobs and all kinds of things. And trans youth have always figured out how to build alternative community to be held in, right? Have always figured out how to create alternative economy to figure out how to thrive in, right? But this is what we've done as cis folks, and this is what we've done as adults and as straight people is force the kind of survival innovation that trans youth have done. But radical permission would say, I see you and want to resource you. I want to resource the innovative, expansive, majestic, unapologetic truth that is you. And so what would happen if that innovation didn't have to grow in a container of survival, but instead got to grow into the expansiveness that is afforded us when we are loved into being? That's what I believe is possible for trans youth in being able to access radical permission. Is this I can't even define the space-time continuum that gets altered when we live in a world that protects and loves and cherishes trans young people, because something gets unlocked that speeds up the thing that we've been slow to do. Something gets unlocked when we cultivate that type of inherent wisdom, right? There's something so powerfully wise and true about defying these structures and norms that we have created out of scarcity and fear. And when we, in positions of privilege and power and resource, when we support the folks that are on the cutting edge of that, which are trans youth, we expedite the process of liberation because we allow them more quickly to show us what that would look like. And if we could see them as the vanguard that they are, we would all be so much more close to our own individualized liberation and our collective liberation. We would be so much closer to understanding and unleashing the full power and expansion that lives when we release these forms and shapes and containers and boxes that were created out of scarcity and fear and a need to categorize and contain. And so I think that, when trans youth are allowed to access the radical permission to be their most authentic selves, they have safety and they have care, they have resource, and then they show us by virtue of their own divine light what's possible for us. There's some layer of our own boundness, of our own restriction that wants to be unshackled. And watching people be unapologetically free is how you become unapologetically free. And so why would we not resource the vanguard of liberatory practice, which is trans youth? Yeah, I believe that's what's possible. So let's do it.